Before the story begins, hit that like button, subscribe for more chilling tales, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. And trust us, you'll want to stay till the end.
It was supposed to be a fun night. After their high school's annual cultural fest wrapped up late, 3 classmates, Emily, Josh, and Tyler, found themselves alone in the empty school parking lot. Everyone else had already left. The lights inside the school building were off, and the last security guard had locked the main gate behind him. "I told you guys we should have left earlier," Emily muttered, tightening her jacket as the cold November wind picked up. Josh checked his phone. No network. Great. This place is literally in the middle of nowhere. "We're just outside town, not in a horror movie," Tyler joked, trying to lighten the mood. "There's bound to be some ride back." But the road in front of the school remained dark and empty. No headlights, no traffic, not even a barking dog. Emily stared into the shadows. "Guys, did you hear that?" They all went quiet. A low creaking sound echoed from behind the school building. Slowly, a rusty yellow school bus rolled out from behind the maintenance shed. No driver, no headlights, yet the engine hummed faintly, and the door creaked open. "Was that bus always parked there?" Josh asked. "No," Emily said flatly. "And why is it moving by itself?" Tyler stepped forward. Maybe it's automatic." Before anyone could respond, a distorted voice came from inside the bus. Low, garbled, almost like a child whispering underwater. "Next stop, everyone off." Tyler hesitated at the open door of the school bus. The dim interior smelled like mold and rusted metal, and the lights flickered weakly, as if trying to wake from a long sleep. "Okay, this is creepy," Emily said, hugging her arms. "Totally haunted," Josh added, but his voice didn't carry its usual sarcasm. Still, curiosity outweighed common sense. They stepped inside. The moment Tyler's foot hit the first step, the bus's engine revved louder. The doors hissed closed behind them. Emily spun around. "Wait, what the hell?" No one touched anything, yet the bus slowly began to roll forward. Tyler rushed to the front, banging on the driver's seat. "Who's driving this thing?" No answer. No one was there. The wheel turned by itself. The accelerator pushed down with no foot in sight. "This can't be real," Josh whispered, grabbing a seat near the front. The bus moved smoothly down the school's back road, which should have looped around and connect to the main exit. But instead, it turned sharply onto a narrow dirt path none of them had ever seen before. Trees pressed in from both sides. Thick branches clawed at the windows. The sky, already dark, seemed to vanish completely above them. "Where is this road even going?" Emily asked, panic rising in her voice. Tyler tried the emergency door at the back. Jammed. He pulled harder. Nothing. Josh looked around and pointed. "Guys, look at the seats." They turned. On the faded green vinyl, scratched into the backs of multiple seats, were names. Dozens of them. Some had dates beside them. All from 2007. "What is this? A memorial bus?" Tyler muttered. Then they saw one final detail that made their blood run cold. One of the names, faint but legible, had today's date next to it. Josh Verma, November 14th, 2025. Emily backed away from the seat with her name on it, trembling. "This is not a joke. Someone is messing with us." "No one knew we'd still be here after the fest," Josh said. "No one." The bus rumbled deeper down the path. The windows fogged up unnaturally fast, even though it wasn't cold for condensation. Outside, shadows darted between the trees, but every time they looked directly, there was nothing. Tyler pulled out his phone. Still no signal. He tried the flashlight. It flickered weakly, and then died. "Didn't you just charge that thing?" Emily asked. "It was full," he said. "Now it's dead." The overhead lights began to dim again, one by one, until only the back of the bus glowed faintly. Then the radio crackled. Static buzzed, then a faint child's voice cut through. "Where were you hiding when it burned?" Josh's head snapped toward the speakers. "Did you guys hear that?" They nodded slowly. "Who burned what?" Emily asked, her voice cracking. The bus suddenly jerked left, taking another unknown path. The trees outside grew thicker. Some looked warped, bent unnaturally, like something had twisted them in agony. Tyler stood and stumbled toward the driver's seat again. We need to get off this thing now. But the moment he touched the wheel, it shocked him, violently. He flew backward, hitting the aisle hard. Emily screamed and knelt beside him. Tyler, Tyler! His eyes fluttered. Don't touch the wheel. Then the lights in the bus surged bright, illuminating something new. A figure. Just for a split second, standing at the back. A girl, maybe 8 years old, wearing a soot-stained school uniform. Her face was burned on one side. Her eyes, empty. Then she vanished. I saw her, Josh whispered. Me too, Emily said, barely breathing. And then the radio spoke again. Everyone off, except the guilty. The bus rattled along the narrow path, now shrouded in a fog so dense they couldn't see more than a few feet out the window. Where are we? Emily whispered, pressing her forehead to the glass. Josh grabbed the emergency radio near the front and pressed the button. Static. Not even a hum of signal. Help! Anyone! He yelled. We're trapped in a moving bus. Click. The radio shut off on its own. Tyler sat up now, cradling his arm where he'd been shocked. That wasn't a normal jolt. It felt like the bus was angry, Emily echoed. Emily walked down the aisle, trying each window, locked tight. Even the emergency exits didn't budge. She reached the back and tried the rear door again. This time, it didn't even rattle. Then came the cold. It started slowly, but within seconds, frost began to creep up the windows. Their breaths became visible in the air, puffing like smoke. This can't be real, Tyler murmured. We're not imagining this, right? Suddenly, the lights cut out completely. Total darkness. Then, footsteps. Light, slow footsteps, walking down the aisle towards us. They weren't running, they weren't heavy, but they echoed like someone dragging worn-out shoes along the metal floor. Josh pulled out his phone to use the screen's glow. The footsteps stopped. His phone screen glitched, flickered, and then a face appeared, reflected behind him. A child. Burnt skin. Hollow eyes. He screamed and dropped the phone. When the light returned, no one was there. But the bus had stopped moving. And for a moment, it was silent. Then came a new sound. Scratching. From the ceiling. A long, slow scraping noise, like fingernails dragging across the metal roof. Emily looked up. What the hell is on top of the bus? Tyler moved toward the aisle. I think we're not alone in here. The bus remained completely still, wrapped in silence, except for that scraping above their heads. Josh held his breath, listening. It's walking up there, he whispered. Whatever it is, it's moving toward the front. Suddenly, the ceiling above the driver's seat caved inward slightly, as if something heavy had dropped onto it. Then it stopped. The lights flickered back on, dimmer than before. But something had changed. The bus wasn't empty anymore. All three of them turned to the seats behind them. Children, dozens of them. Silent, still, seated just like regular students, except their faces were pale, lifeless. Some were scorched. Others bled from the eyes or had torn uniforms soaked in soot. None of them moved. None blinked. They just stared forward. Emily slowly stepped back, heart pounding in her ears. Tell me you see them too. We see them, Tyler replied, frozen. Suddenly, one child turned. A small boy with half his face burned away.
At Josh and whispered, "It wasn't supposed to be us." Another turned toward Emily. "Why didn't they open the door?" Then a girl with a broken arm turned her gaze to Tyler. "They left us inside." The voices overlapped now, soft, accusing whispers filling the air like smoke. "You laughed. You watched it burn. You locked the gate." The words stabbed at them like icy knives. "What are they talking about?" Emily whispered. "I don't know. I swear I don't know," Josh yelled. Then, one by one, the children began to vanish, dissolving into mist, into nothing, until only one remained. The girl from before, burned, quiet,
watching. She pointed at the emergency door. Slowly, it creaked open. And outside, there was no road, just darkness, and what looked like gravestones. Rows of them, covered in vines and fog, with names. Emily stepped forward. "Why are you showing us this?" The girl didn't answer, but behind her, on one of the gravestones, Emily saw her own name. Emily stumbled backward, her voice barely a whisper. "My name! That's my name!" Tyler leaned in beside her. No, it can't be! This is a trick!" But Josh wasn't looking at the gravestone. He was staring at the girl. Her feet didn't touch the ground. Her shadow stretched the wrong way. And her eyes? They weren't just empty. They were looking through them. Then she smiled and screamed, a horrible guttural cry that made the glass vibrate. All the lights burst at once. The bus jerked violently. Doors slammed, windows cracked. Emily dropped to the floor, covering her ears. Tyler grabbed a seat, trying to stay upright. Josh fell backward, right into the arms of something cold. Two icy hands gripped his shoulders. He turned. A boy, half-burned, hollow eyes, breathing smoke. Josh screamed and shoved him away, running to the front. "We have to get out, now!" But the door had closed again, and this time it melted shut. Black, oozing liquid poured from the seams, sealing them in like wax. "Why are they doing this?" Tyler shouted. The little girl's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. "They locked us in, and now it's your turn." Suddenly, one of the ghost children lunged at Emily, but vanished inches before touching her. Then another appeared behind Tyler, whispering into his ear. "You saw it. You did nothing." "I didn't know," he shouted. "I didn't know what they were doing." Outside the windows, flames erupted, burning trees, fire rolling through the fog. The forest itself began to howl. Smoke filled the bus. Josh, coughing, grabbed the fire extinguisher and hurled it at the emergency hatch above. It cracked. Again and again. Finally, it shattered. "Up! Climb!" he shouted. Tyler boosted Emily, and she scrambled through the hatch into the smoke above. Josh pushed Tyler next. Just as he started climbing, the girl appeared behind Josh again, closer than ever. She whispered, "You laughed. You locked the door." Josh froze. "Wait, what?" Smoke coiled around Josh's legs as the ghost girl hovered closer. "You locked the door," she repeated, her voice hollow and slow, like a memory dragged through time. Emily reached down from the hatch. "Josh, grab my hand." But he didn't move. His mind was reeling, memories clawing back. A fire, screams. Years ago, when Josh was in 6th grade, a fire had broken out in the school's transportation shed. He and a few other boys had been playing a prank. They trapped kids inside the old school bus, locked the doors from the outside, and ran. They thought it would be funny. Until the fire spread. Until it was too late. No one ever found out who did it. The school blamed faulty wiring. Everyone moved on. But not the ones who died. The children inside the bus. Emily's voice snapped him back. "Josh!" The ghost girl reached out. "You laughed. You watched us burn." Tears streamed down Josh's face. "I was a kid. I didn't mean to." Tyler grabbed him from above and pulled with all his strength. Just as the girl lunged, Josh was yanked through the hatch. All three tumbled onto the roof, coughing, gasping. Below them, the bus began to twist. Its shape distorted, tires melted, windows cracked open with screams. The fog around it thickened, forming vague outlines of children watching from the trees. Then, silence. Emily stared at Josh. What did she mean? "You locked the door." Josh said nothing, just looked down at his hands. The forest around them had changed. It wasn't their town anymore. It felt older, abandoned, timeless. The road was gone. The trees curved in a perfect circle around the bus, like a ritual ground. Tyler whispered, "We weren't supposed to be here." And then, footsteps again. Dozens of them. The ghost children emerged from the shadows, slowly circling the bus, their eyes locked on Josh. Emily backed away. "We need to move, now." But the children didn't stop, and they weren't looking at anyone else. Only him. Josh stumbled back on the roof, trembling. "I didn't mean to kill them. I was a stupid kid." The ghost children said nothing. Their eyes were blank, but something burned behind them. Rage, sadness. Silence sharpened into fury. Below them, the bus shuddered. Then the roof caved inward. The structure twisted grotesquely, metal bending as if alive. The school bus groaned, like it remembered everything: the screams, the fire, the lives lost within its shell. Emily and Tyler backed away, watching in horror as the bus reformed into something monstrous. A fusion of charred steel and bone. The windows became blackened eyes. The grille twisted into a mouth full of broken glass, and smoke poured from its cracks like breath. "Josh, get off!" Emily shouted, pulling him toward the edge of the roof. But the children were already climbing up. They didn't run. They didn't scream. They simply advanced, determined, patient, eternal. One girl reached Josh first. She placed a small hand on his chest. "I'm sorry. I was scared. I never told anyone. I lived like it never happened." "You did, but we didn't." And then the roof opened beneath him. Flames burst from the metal, engulfing Josh in an instant. He didn't scream. He just disappeared into the fire. Emily shrieked, falling to her knees. Tyler pulled her up. "We have to go, now!" But the ghost children stopped advancing. The fog began to recede. The monstrous shape of the bus softened, twisting back into the old, broken shell it once was. The spirits began to vanish, fading like smoke into the cold air. Only the little girl remained, the one who first appeared. She looked at Emily and Tyler, her burned face calm now. She turned and walked to the front of the bus. She took the driver's seat, placed her hands on the wheel, and looked forward. The bus of headlights blinked one final time, and then it stopped breathing. Stillness. Real silence. The fog lifted completely, revealing a path, a way home. The first thing Emily felt was the
No smoke, just the soft rustle of leaves in the wind. She opened her eyes. Sunlight filtered gently through the trees. She was lying on the ground beside the bus, but it wasn't the same bus anymore. It was old, broken down, covered in vines, almost like it hadn't moved in decades. Tyler stirred beside her, groaning. What happened?" They sat up slowly. The forest looked ordinary now. No fog, no gravestones, just a quiet clearing, peaceful and still, as if the nightmare had never happened. But it had. And Josh was gone. They searched the area in silence. No blood, no sign of a struggle, no footprints. It was like the forest had swallowed him whole. Eventually, they found the road again. This time, it was exactly where it should be. A local farmer driving past stopped when he saw them and offered to help. "You kids lost?" he asked, eyeing their soot-stained clothes. Back in town, they were taken to the hospital. The doctors said they were in shock, hypothermic, possibly hallucinating. No one found a bus, no wreckage, no fire damage. Just two teenagers with no explanation. The police asked questions. Tyler stayed quiet. Emily told them the truth. They didn't believe her. "Stress," they said. "You imagined it." But Emily knew better. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept hearing it, faint metal creaks, like a door opening. She checked her phone. No missed calls, no messages, until one appeared. No sender,
Just one line. Some doors never stay closed. Her screen flickered, then went black. And in its reflection, she saw something. Just for a second. The back of a school bus. Empty seats. And Josh, sitting in the last row, staring out the window. He didn't wave. He didn't smile. He just watched her as the bus slowly faded into smoke. Emily dropped the phone and backed away, breath trembling, because she knew that bus wasn't done yet, and somewhere, one day, it would come back.